Hi guys, so I'm Hannah from Hannah Marie Coaching, and I'm here today with the lovely Eloise Burton. So she is the Money Alchemist, and I've known Eloise a few years now from online.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
how our paths crossed. It's funny how these things happen. Um, but Eloise has really helped like thousands of soul-led spiritual coaches really kind of transform their relationship with money. And it's her work is really magical. So today we're going to kind of dig into the topic of like how we can create money with ease from our feminine energy, because I know this is what Eloise is very passionate about.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
thanks for being here. Like I've really
Thank you for having me.
welcome. So how are things with you at the minute, and like how did you start on this path of like money magic?
Yeah, so things for me right now are beyond what I ever dreamt of in my lifetime, and I've still got a long way to go. I'm not like this, not like this, like millionaire or anything yet. But how I got on this path is really interesting. I was brought up in quite a deprived town. There wasn't there wasn't money around. I mean, we didn't have a car until I was 13 or something like that, might even be 15. Everything was hard, money was hard, and I took that into my adult life as well. And it was something that wasn't talked about, it was something that was seen as a bad thing, and I ended up as a complete money mess, I'll be honest. Like, I had a home repossessed. I
Wow.
was £100,000 in credit card debt, and I cannot tell you what I spent it on. Not a single thing that I can remember spending it on. And I really just didn't want to face money. I was really scared of money. I had a lot of hatred towards money, a lot of distrust.
Mm.
And since I realized how money operates and how I can operate with money in a feminine way, like, everything changed for me almost overnight. Now, that's not to say I'm perfect. I still make mistakes. I still drop into fear and doubt. But now I recognize that, and I can get back on that money train really quickly. So yeah, I kind of say, like, I'm from money mess to money alchemist.
I love that because I remember you said about your money mess in your
Yeah.
community, because you're so open and you share that. You're so
Mm,
great at sharing your story and being
mm,
vulnerable. And I think for, we were talking about it earlier, being like, let's say, multi-passionate women as well in business and very creative. I think it's such like money is such a taboo subject to talk about, right? Like
yeah.
it's hard, and it's something that we shouldn't really, maybe the world, we shouldn't be desiring a lot, because then we're seen as greedy and it's too much and all these connotations that come from it.
Mm,
So I just love this way of saying connecting with money as a feminine energy. And I've experienced it in your Eloise has got an app that I'm part of, this Money Circle app, which is great. And it's really just kind of building a new relationship with money so that we can allow more into our lives,
yeah.
really, isn't it?
And it's a real game changer, isn't it? When you first connect with money in a feminine way, it feels different instantly, and then life gets in the way and we start going back to our old habits. And that's what I wanted the app for, so that it was on your phone all the time looking at you, so that you go, oh yeah, connect with money in a feminine way. Because literally it lifts that worry and stress away from you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I've been working on like this money mindset piece for like since 2017, since I was
Mm.
like, right, I'm going to do some business things. And it's always been something. And to be honest with you, one of my favorite tools, and most people know me, know this, I love EFT.
Uh-huh, yes.
When you do your EFT taps, for anyone that doesn't know, it's emotional freedom technique. So you're tapping on the acupuncture points and basically releasing your anxiety.
Mm.
And you saying about the piece of getting into debt, I got into some debt as well, and it just makes you feel so anxious.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us suffer with that fear around money, don't we? That there's never going to be enough, that we're going to run out.
No, what's really interesting about our minds is, although, say, for example, debt stresses us out and causes worry, what it becomes is our new normal, our new zero is a minus number. So although we're uncomfortable with it, we're actually comfortable with it because that's what we know. So what can happen is when you pay off your debt, you start self-sabotaging because it's uncomfortable. And your brain's trying to get you back to where it's comfortable. So even though it creates worry, that situation that you're in is what you know, it's what you're used to, it's in your comfort zone to have debt and to have that worry. So that's why so many times when people say to me, I paid off a card and then got straight back into debt, what we need to do is expand our container, raise our zeros, and like appreciate that our brains are literally trying to keep us safe. It's not the universe proving that we can't have money. It's our brains doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and that's keeping us in our comfort zone. And what we need to do is push it out, and that's tapping. As you know, we do the money tap every month. And tapping is a fantastic way to loosen up your subconscious and your energy and expand your container and expand your zero so that it is at least a zero, if not a plus number.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that's so interesting saying about I've never heard it framed that way about the debt, that you kind of go into another card or into debt because that's your normal.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I'm noticing I paid off 2 debts this year actually. Again, the money kind of came out of nowhere as these things. Tapping definitely helps.
Yes.
And to somebody it sounds woo-woo, but it actually is literally magic.
It's definitely a thing, isn't it?
It literally is. It works. It really works. And I paid off these debts, and that I still notice this pattern of me wanting to spend, like the money kind of rushing through my hands really quickly. And I see that whole pattern happening again, and I'm really aware of it. So I think, and I know you teach it, is that the awareness piece is so important, isn't it, to kind of catch your
my goodness,
money.
I think awareness of your patterns and your blocks and your stories around money, I think it's 80 to 90% of the work. And the work that we do on the app and in the academy is the final 10%. That's like the final healing. It's like, once you become aware of something, you can't forget it. So you start seeing, you spot that shadow and you keep seeing it. Once you've shined that light on it, it diminishes the power enormously. So just being aware that you are repeating that pattern of getting back into debt will help you 80 to 90% of the way. And then the tapping and everything else that we do, the writing and things like that, will just tip it over.
Yeah.
And what is also really interesting is we often think that improvement is a straight line, but actually what it is a spiral, an upward spiral. So sometimes you deal with a block or a comfort zone issue, a zero issue, and then you find yourself back at that point, or that's what it feels like, that you've just gone round in a big circle. But actually what you've done is you've gone up a level, because what you do with money stuff is you heal it on this level that you're on, and then you expand, and then you need to heal the next level and expand. And that's why when people get a huge amount of money, often it's gone quite quickly and they don't know when. Like me with my £100,000, I hadn't healed myself. I hadn't expanded my container to hold on to that level of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it felt alien because you literally in your body you couldn't receive it, I guess.
Yeah. And I've been here before. Why? I'm the Money Alchemist. Why am I back here? I'm not back here. I'm up a level.
Right.
So
interesting vision. I like that.
Yeah. So you're at the same place, but you're at a different level. Does that make sense? So we just go round and round and round.
Yeah, you've expanded. That's a good visual. So when you were saying you're in this money mess. So like how did you? I mean, it must be like a series of things you did. How did you shift from that money mess and turn your life around? What were the things that were going on for you, like in your mind, in your heart, like in your body? What was happening?
So interestingly, I took a massive step forward and then took a huge step back as we do. Or it felt like that, but actually I was just going around the spiral. I'd had some really traumatic relationships, and I always say, like, your money relationship reflects your relationship with yourself, and your relationships with everyone else reflects your relationship with yourself as well. It's like this symbiotic thing. And I'd come out of, I think it was like my third or fourth abusive relationship. Like finally the penny dropped. And I decided to put in place some boundaries and work on self-love. And then I decided I was going to just focus on me. And 2 weeks later, I walked into Mark and we've been together for 7 years, but he is, you know, he's completely the opposite to any other relationship I've ever had. And we decided that we wanted to buy a house together. But of course, I knew I couldn't buy a house because I'd had a home repossessed. I had so much debt. But I thought, you know, let's knuckle down and maybe in 10 years' time, we might be able to afford a deposit. So we just started looking around new builds, show homes, to just get some ideas of what we wanted and really plant the seed. I'm a big fan of goal setting. I've been a coach nearly all my career. Goal setting is really important. And I know as an NLP practitioner that it's about the feels and the smells and the sights. It's not just about what you imagine. So we just sort of go and, you know, dream basically.
Experience. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. So we went and looked at a house in Romsey, which is just up the road, and just started reining our thought patterns around money in. And that looked like paying attention to money, like checking my money every single day to see where we were. It wasn't always pretty, but I felt really empowered. And what started to happen was I started enjoying it. Instead of being like this when I logged in, I was like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to see today. Then it started to rain money.
But I think,
and I don't know where it came from.
But I just want to like add to that, because I think it's a really important point of that awareness of like you looking at your money and that debt. Because I think when you're in that space, and to any like ladies watching this, in that space, you feel like it's the hardest thing in the world. Like face your debt and kind of come in that space with it. But actually, like you say, it seems to ease. Like it seems to, it doesn't feel like a burden anymore, right? It's that awareness piece again, I think. So
but it's the opposite of what you think. You think it's going to feel horrible, but actually you go in and you look and you're like, okay, I know where I am now. I know what I'm facing. And that's so empowering as a woman.
Absolutely. And I think it's such a small step, but long term makes you feel so much better. But I just wanted to add to that, because I think that was an important part. So then you attracted this beautiful man in, and you were looking at these houses, because I love the manifestation work you talk about of like experiencing, actually looking at the physical thing. Then what was happening after? You said it was raining money.
It started raining money. People were giving us money. We were getting refunds. I got huge PPI refunds. I mean, like 5-figure PPI refunds on 2 things.
Wow.
And I never even borrowed that much money.
That's
you know, amazing. I know. And I was like, I'm like a good girl. So I phoned them like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, we've gone through everything. That's what we owe you. Are you sure you're sure? Like 9 months later, we bought a house. And so like it was really interesting, because all the stories that I told myself, I can't get a mortgage, I can't save money, I'm in debt, they were just stories I was telling myself. And yes, I had to work through those stories. But when I opened up to a different story, I bought this house that I'm in. And then a few months later, it hit me like a train. And I yelled down to Mark. I was like, Mark! And he's like, what? This is the house. And he's like, no, it's not. This is the house. Like, we looked at the house in Romsey and we bought the house in Eastleigh. And he's like, no, it's not. He said no. We went and had a look. It was the same house.
It's the same one. Wow.
Same house, different development. And I was like, boom. What?
That's so powerful. It just goes to show that the intention, that awareness you had around money, putting your desire out there, that very much attraction, but it was taking action.
Yeah.
So, and also I think that's really important what you're saying about like our relationships reflect our relationship. So our relationships with other people reflect how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah. And also with money.
with money. And I remember you sharing that in a group, and it was like, oh my God, it was such a wild moment for me.
Yeah.
You don't think that's what it is. And I know you're
it's all about you.
Yeah. And I know you're all about this, going back to this feminine energy of kind of like allowing money in with ease. So what are the things you teach around like seeing money as like a feminine energy?
So the first and most important thing to think of with money is imagine that money, if you want to imagine her as a woman, you absolutely can. I find that really helps me. I identify as a woman, so it makes sense to me to think about money as a woman. You could think of that as your best friend or your favorite sister, or, you know, someone who really just makes you feel cherished and loved, someone that you want to love back as well. And this is what I did when I manifested. I started looking for money. So I call these my 5 money magic foundations. Money is everywhere. Okay, absolutely everywhere. No one believes that until they start working with me, and then they're like, oh, I found like 3 pennies, and I found a fiver, and then I found 400 quid, and like, money is everywhere. If you looked around your house, Anna, you would find some money that you'd forgotten about. Yeah. So I started looking for it, and what you focus on, you get more of. So just by the act of looking at my money every day, looking for money, seeing where I could make savings, seeing where I could get more money, like, it created more for me. And the more I looked for money, the more money appeared for me. Then the next thing is to pay attention to money. Like, I like a bit of attention, not toxic attention, but I like a bit of attention. I like Mark to notice when I put a bit of makeup on, or I've had my hair cut, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So notice money. You know, if you see money and you walk past it in the street because you're worried someone's going to think, look at that person picking up a penny. Like, if you notice money, like, I think of those as little signs and messages from the universe, like little feathers. Pick it up. You know, don't discount it. I have this thing. I've got 2 businesses. And for the longest time, I thought I was failing because this business wasn't bringing in the money, and it was all coming from this business. And the universe must be like, what on earth? You asked me for the money. I sent you the money.
In another way, right?
Yeah. So again, for me, that's being quite feminine, is actually seeing the whole picture, the flow, being creative about where it comes from, you know? It doesn't have to come through one route, right?
Yeah, I think it's being in that receiving mode, like you say. Yeah. It actually reminds me, because I am in that learning about these 5 foundations that I was on the other day. But there was, I wonder what you say about this, there was literally a little 5p lodged in, you know, where you tap your to pay for the bus. It was lodged. So I couldn't quite reach it, and it was where the man was sitting, and I was thinking, this is a sign, but I can't actually get to it.
But you saw it and you paid attention and you worked to try and get it, didn't you? Like, I love it. Like, don't just see money, go pay attention, know where your money is as well. Like, have you got a bank account that's got a sneaky 50 quid in it? Go and have a look. Like, she loves a little bit of attention.
And you know, the awareness piece, I think, and for anyone struggling with this money mindset piece, the practical thing that's really helped me this year, actually started last year, is actually writing down like my spending every day. At first, I thought, oh my God, that's so scary. But actually being mindful of where your money is going. And then you notice, are you spending money on things that you don't really value?
Oh, yes.
Impulse buy, or like what it is. But it actually makes you feel more comfortable with money because you know where it's going. You're clear about it, and it really helps that process.
And that's a really important process. Like, this is not about not spending. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about opening the flow, and sometimes you need to spend. But I remember I had about 5 knocks on the door one day, and it was 5 different Amazon deliveries, and I had no clue what I'd ordered because I was just like, see it, want it, buy it. So in my group, we talk about friction, and it's not to stop you spending. It's to stop you spending mindlessly, to not pay attention. And what I would say, Hannah, it's brilliant that you're tracking your outgoings every day, but track your incoming every day as well.
Yes.
Even if it's a penny in interest from your bank account, or 5 pence that you found on the bus, or, you know, whilst you're walking, track your income every day, because we focus on what's going out,
yeah,
but what's coming in, like pay attention to the flow as well. The more attention you put on the flow, you'll find yourself being motivated to do different things as well. It's like you're inspired into action because you're paying attention. You go, oh, I'm not going to put another zero down. I'm going to go and sell something or make some money or go and find some money. Like the more attention you pay to money, both directions, the more she's gonna show up for you.
And I love this opening up to it, because it doesn't, I think we're so taught in this world, like you'll know about, and what you teach is like work hard for money. It's you put in and the time you put into it. And I swear everyone's heard like money doesn't grow on trees at some point in life. I know I did. And we're so careful. We can either go into what I've done is spend it mindlessly, and I would spend like hundreds of pounds on clothes in one go when I was in my early 20s. Go through my fingers.
Yeah, like water.
Yeah, like literally like water. And then there's the other extent of people hoarding it.
So
how can, are there ways that you can, because I know there's that panic when you start, you know, there's a day where you spend more. There's, for me, there's almost like an anxiety or a panic. Oh my God, it's all going. What can you do in that situation to kind of just lean into that space of trust?
So firstly, connect with money. And you know, we have visualizations to do that. You can journal, you can tap, but connect with money. And like when you connect with money in a feminine way, you instantly feel away from the fear and more into the trust. This will inspire you into action. So the example that you gave, you spend hundreds of pounds on clothes. Chances are you're not going to wear all of them. So you might take some of them back, whereas before you'd have just stuffed them in your wardrobe and left them there. This is something that I've done a lot. I buy loads of clothes, and now I make it a goal to buy clothes and send half of them back, because that's showing that I am spending, but also that I'm spending responsibly. And I know, like, if I don't love it, it's going back, you know, because so that's a great way to do it. But also forgive yourself. You are allowed to spend your money, and more money will come. So if it's gone, it's gone. That's another thing. If it's gone, it's gone. Focus on the flow. Where's the next bit going to come from? See all these different places that you've got money coming from you. Allow more money to come to you. Allow it, you know. Invite money in. Talk to her. You know, I have money dates I change it. Sometimes it's every week. Sometimes it's every other week. And then we have a big money date every month as well, and that's where I'm just literally writing down all my money and working out what I want to do with it. Half the time I don't do it, like I don't do that plan, but I love spending time with money.
But that's so beautiful, because you're cultivating that habit, aren't you? And I remember what an old mentor, I joined this art business accelerator course last year, and she was saying, like, make a playlist for your money day, and like put feel good money, and she's made this playlist with all these song lyrics connected with money. I can't even think of what they're called right now, but like empowering songs about money. Yes,
and there aren't that many, so the ones that you find, you need to hold on to for sure. But yeah, like when you spend, like it's definitely, so if you spend to feel better, that's a sign that you've got something you need to work on inside of you. There's some self-love needed. So, you know, like I say, first and foremost, forgive yourself. It's okay to spend money. Like, there's nothing wrong with spending money. Slow it down where you can, and if you can't, just say, you know, I spent £200 on clothes. I'm going to go through them again, see if I love them. If I don't love them, I'm going to be brave and take them back, even though that makes me feel really uncomfortable. When you've done it, you'll be like, yes.
It's a good tip though, and I think the space you're in when you spend is really key, isn't it? Because I've done it before where I've been in a space of, oh God, fear when I'm spending. But then if you're in a space of, you know, gratitude and appreciation, I know you talk about that piece. It helps the flow come back to you.
Absolutely. There is money, there is honestly money everywhere, and there are so many examples in your life where you've spent your last pound, maybe even your last penny, but more money has come to you, right? There's very few of us in this world, in this developed world, that don't have that happen. You know, how many times have you run out of money before the month end's got here? But somehow you figured it out, you know?
Absolutely.
it is magic. I wish I could explain it.
It is magic, but I
yeah,
think even if like women watching this don't, it hasn't happened with money, like you all would have experienced it in some other way, like some
absolutely.
manifestation
Yeah.
come out the blue, or like the perfect job came to you really easily.
Mm.
And I actually remember this, how I manifested a job was, this is funny, I actually got, some reason I cancelled this meditation class I was meant to be teaching in London. So I traveled all the way up from Southampton to London. It was crazy. For one meditation class. And this time I thought, well, I'm not doing it. It's like one person signed up.
Mm.
Long story short, I got then invited to see one of my favourite musicians, Bon Iver. This guy, I went on a few dates with, had a spare ticket. He's like, do you want to go? I was like, okay. So long story short, this all lined up with the job that I then got.
Mm-hmm.
So all I knew was I wanted to get to work in London, live in London, but not live with anyone, and live close to my work, right?
Yeah.
And I got it all. I
Yeah.
got like the reception job, the live-in position by the river, like everything, a flat by myself.
Yes.
And all led up to this. So what I'm saying is, like you're saying, is really listen to the universe when speaking to you, and it's sharing that you're on the right track, because it always will.
It does. We are powerful manifestors. We don't believe it. And it's really interesting. People think that manifesting money is the hardest thing to manifest. It's not. It's the easiest thing to manifest. But what you've got to do is get away from that negativity that you have with money. Organising a job for you and a flat, and do you know what? That's a lot of moving pieces that the universe had to sort out for you. If you'd asked for the money and you didn't have the blocks and stories that you had, it would have just dumped the money that enabled you to do that. And it may have been quite, well, it will have been quite quick. Once we can clear, like, money can buy you whatever, money can get you that flat, money, money can get you in the position that you need to be. But I love it when people realize, oh, like, I don't have to get all these moving parts sorted. I just got to manifest the money for it.
Yeah.
I had a brilliant question the other day. Someone said, why don't I just manifest a lottery win? And I was like, okay, you could, but how many other people are manifesting that? How does the universe decide and make sure that all of those balls come out at the right time with your numbers and not everyone else's?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many moving parts. Is it this week? Is it next week? Is it Tuesday? Is it Saturday? Just manifest the money in a different way where it can come from anywhere. And it might take a little bit more time, but over that time, you're healing and expanding your container so it sticks.
I love that, expanding your container, because you've got to be open to receive it, right? If
you
you're
do.
not trusting it, you're just closed off to it.
Yeah, and then
space.
And then you get things when you're closed off to it. So, for example, you might get a tax rebate. Say you get a tax rebate of £500. You get proof, you think it's proof from the universe that you shouldn't have that money because, oh, you bumped your car, or it needs repairing, or the roof goes, and then it's like, oh, that's exactly the same amount as what I got from my tax rebate, or, whatever it is. And then you see that as, like, it matches up, so it's obviously proof you're not meant to have that money. It's not. It's a self-sabotage thing. You bring that towards you. You don't feel worthy, so therefore you attract something that did your container when you can get a tax rebate or anything, and you can sit with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great example, isn't it? I'm sure we've all done that. Yeah. I remember randomly, like, having to, like, go to the skincare lady because I had acne and it was horrible, and I had tried everything. And I remember, like, all these skin products probably added up to 200 something pounds. I didn't have that at the time. I was like, oh my God, like, this is a lot of money for me at that time. And randomly, I got some, like, refund from some water bill where I lived in London a year before that, which was like the exact amount to pay for the skincare.
The universe is always listening.
It really is. I mean,
yeah.
I think ladies, anyone that's listening, would be a great exercise to do. And I know you talk about that, is tracking when these when you've manifested things, because there's so much to order in the universe to bring to you.
Yeah. I mean, and the other thing to know is my thing is money alchemy. I'm all about transformation. Money is the ultimate in alchemy. We see it happening every single day, but we don't believe it's magic. You know, I'm looking at my desk. I've got a tin of incense cones here. That is money that alchemized into incense, and then it will alchemize into the energy I feel when I burn it. You know, I could sell this to you and it would alchemize back into money. Everything around us, like everything that's like purchased, houses, screens, phones, whatever, it's the ultimate in money alchemy. So the other thing to remember is you might ask for £50, but your friend buys you lunch instead. That is money that you didn't have to spend with your friend. Do you know what I mean? Like it turns up in a different alchemized form.
Absolutely.
So look out for that.
I love that. That's a great tip, isn't it? I really.
Yeah.
So with, you know, if any women like are watching this and they're feeling really stressed around money, and I know you shared some great tips, like really Eloise like knows her stuff. It's amazing. What is the one thing they can start doing? Just like one small thing that will really help them shift into the space of trust so they can receive more money with ease.
So I would say, but the first thing is the first Money Magic Foundation. Look for it. Go and look for it. Go and look in your car, go and look in your bags, look in your purses, look at everywhere. Look underneath your sofa, take your Hoover, because, you know, Hoover's underneath the sofa. Look everywhere. Looking pockets, jeans, find money. Great tip.
Lovely.
The trap in your washing machine often has money in.
Oh,
yeah, I found £7.50 in there once. No wonder my washing machine wasn't working. But
love it.
So go and look for money. Go and look for money. And, you know, the thing with us is we get busy, and what happens is we know something works and then we stop doing it for some reason. Yeah. So we go, oh yeah, it worked, but it only worked for a short period of time. No, it's because you only did the work for a short period of time. Money is an ongoing relationship. Think of it like your most intimate relationship. You have to pay attention, and that's how you'd want to be treated in a relationship. You don't want to be taken for granted. You don't want to be not seen. You don't want to be not, you know, not have you don't want to feel lack of gratitude or any of that. You want to feel like you're cherished, and that's an ongoing thing. You know, in a relationship, we do end up taking each other for granted, but then we have to remember to not do it. That's what you need to do with money. So the first thing is just go and look for it. And I'd say another one, get in my free group, because that free group will help you focus on money every single day.
Amazing.
Even if you're just looking.
Yeah, I will share. I know Eloise's group is great. I need to engage more. But just really for anyone listening, honestly, the 5 foundations you teach are really powerful.
Yeah.
Like I said, looking for it. I must say I had some resistance.
Yeah.
I always find myself going to the other foundations. Like that's the one I least like for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But even doing any of them will make a difference. And I've got a free download, so I'll give you the link for that as well as a free download.
I'll share them for people.
Yeah.
So I honestly could talk to you all day, but I'm conscious of the time. So if if people want to work with you, what is the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can email me or find me on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way to find me. I've got a free group. I've got a low-cost membership, and then I've got an academy as well. And if you really want to deep dive, there's one-to-one with me as well. So there's lots of different ways that you can work with me, depending on where you are on your money journey and how fast you want to get there. Because, you know, it's quite scary going all in. You know, some people need to warm up to it. So that's why I have different points. But yeah, email me, message me, come and find me in the group. That's a good place to start.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. And have you got anything like coming up that you want to share with people?
So on the first Friday of every single month, I go in my group, I go live in my group, and I teach people to write magical manifestation checks, which are a beautiful way of setting goals in a fun way, and they friggin' work. Like they blow people's minds. Yeah. So that's what I've got coming up. It's So yeah, on the first Friday of every month. So come and join in and get your manifesting muscle flexing.
See, that sounds fun, right? Creative.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to do something that feels like hard work. It should feel fun, because that's
Absolutely.
even with these. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times where I've been like out on a walk in nature, or like dancing or doing something I loved, and like money just came into me. It wasn't
Yes.
I wasn't trying to force or hustle. I was
No.
in that receiving mode.
Because your vibration and your self-care and your self-love was there. Like, we often think we have to focus on making money. What we need to do is focus on feeling good about money and ourselves. If we feel good and we're not worrying about it, like I often make money when I sleep. That's my favorite way to make money. Like, and the more successful I get, the less I work, the less hard it feels, like the less hard I work, but it becomes easier. And it's a complete contradiction to what we're taught. So there's a lot of societal reprogramming or unprogramming that needs to be done. We need to unlearn some of the stories that we've carried with us, and that our parents carried with us, and that their parents carried with us, and on and on and on.
Absolutely.
There is another way, and you know, when you discover it, you see proof fast, don't you?
Don't you? And I'm always connected with that. I always tell my clients to go on play dates, right? That comes from the Artist's Way book, which I absolutely love. And I call them play dates now, but it's like doing something fun for yourself. Doing that once a week more, I recommend. But the more you're doing that, like you're saying, you're in that energy of receiving, you're in the fun. Ideas just come to you. So that's often when money comes. And when you don't do the play dates, you feel stagnant, and you get into that, get into that hustle, and I try
hustle and grind,
right? And it just work from that space. So it's,
and the hustle and grind is a very negative energy. It's very hard. It's like walking up a mountain. So like what you're doing is, you might make money, but it's going to not feel joyful. So what you're doing is you're making it harder for money to magnetize towards you. Like, imagine yourself as like a star, and you just want to put your light out, and money can go, oh, there it is, easy to get to her. You know?
Love that. Great.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, there's so much. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. Like, honestly, you just like firecracker. Love it.
Thank you.
In that, if there's anything, like one piece of wisdom, because I know what it's like to feel anxious around money, and I know it's a journey you have to go on, but if there's somebody sat there, to the women that are just still feeling anxious around money, like what is some piece of wisdom that you'd love to leave them with?
I think the biggest thing for me, and like I said, this is quite hard. It's easy to say and hard to do, but if you focus on doing it, it makes a difference. Worrying about money is like rocking in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you literally nowhere. Okay, so instead of sat there rocking in the chair worrying about money, go for a walk and look for it. Tidy a corner of your house and look for it. Just go and look for money, and that will open up the flow. So it's really noticing when you're creating a negative energy around money and changing that state. And as I said, it's not always easy, but just remember, that's what me, the Money Alchemist, did, and I am living a really, really blessed life now, and it's only going to get even better. And I'm no, that's not true. I am an expert, but I'm not always consistent. So sometimes I fall out of doing these things. Like, it doesn't make you a failure or a non-manifester or anything like that. It doesn't make you anything. It just means that you've fallen out of the habit. So get back on that bus.
Wow.
And get off that chair, get back on that bus, start looking for money, and then do the other stuff. And you do one thing, the next thing's easier, and then the next thing's easier. Just don't beat yourself up for falling out of those habits. Just get back on them.
Yeah, that's a really good. That's great. That's a great tip. Just take an action, because I know it's easy, and like you say, but we're only human. Like, we can fall back into old patterns. I can tell my clients to go and play, and then I don't play. So I feel that too. I put my hands up. So we're all learning. We're all on this journey together. And Eloise has a beautiful community that you can be supported in. So I will leave
Yeah.
links below for everyone. But thank you so much for sharing your time, giving your time and sharing your energy. And I feel like there's so many nuggets in here that they're going to be like, oh, there's so many things to take action on.
Yeah.
So
But
thank
don't get overwhelmed, ladies. Like literally, if I've blown your brains, come into the free group and start step by step. You know,
Yeah,
I could talk about this for days, weeks, months, and years.
I love it. Well, you have passion. That's what
Yeah,
we're here for.
yeah.
Thanks, Eloise.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
My pleasure. Bye. Bye.
Bye.